What's up guys, it's Gone, and today we'll be rating the 30 MLB The Show 22 Future Stars cards in terms of how good they are in real life. I realize that I do play a decent amount of MLB The Show, and my channel focuses a lot on prospects, so why not make a video on the best of free-to-play cards you can get in MLB The Show. When San Diego Studios makes their Future Stars list, they don't often pick the best prospect in each organization, and in some cases, not even in the top 5. However, there are some gems here where they are widely known in the prospect world. My ranking system will take into account the years that they are having in their respective minor league season, as well as where they came from and expert rankings. Obviously, as prospects go, they are extremely volatile, so I don't expect that this list will hold even 2 years from now, given new information. But before we get onto the video, could you guys please hit the like and subscribe button? Currently, only 3% of people who watch my videos are subscribed, so if y'all do, not only would it help me grow my channel, but it also encourages me to create more videos like this for you guys. And without further ado, let's get on to the video. The former first-round pick of the Cincinnati Reds is struggling mightily in his second professional season since getting drafted. Austin Hendrick has been hitting .214 with 13 home runs and a little bit under 300 at-bats between single A and high A. This is mainly due to his discouraging number of strikeouts. Currently, a staggering 44% of plate appearances end in a strikeout, and for a young power hitter, it's expected but not at this rate. On the bright side, he has been drawing his walks despite his batting average being so low, as he reaches base almost 30% of the time. Furthermore, at only 21 years old, he has a lot of time to grow and develop, and as a former first-round pick, he has tons of potential, and there's no doubt that he will eventually show it in some form. It pains me to do it as he's one of my favorite Future Stars cards, but Micheal Toglia lands in at the number 29 spot. Again, he's a former first-round pick who's struggling mightily, this time in his third career professional season. A switch hitter who has some light tower power faces similar issues to Reds' Austin Hendrick. He has strikeout issues to a concerning rate. In 266 plate appearances, he has struck out 104 times, leading to a strikeout percentage of 39%. However, the threat of his power has allowed him to reach base over 30% of the time with the walk. Toglia is also a great fielder and can be slotted in as a corner outfielder or at first base. As a 23-year-old in Double-A, he still is on the right track to be a decent contributor in the major leagues, although maybe not at the same rate as he was projected to in the draft or as his stats show in MLB The Show. Garett Mitchell, simply put, has some game-changing speed, which helps him out both as an elite center fielder, hawking down balls, and as a constant threat of a stolen base on the base paths. However, he's had his injury issues in Double-A, which have limited his greatest asset in his speed. In fact, he's had injury concerns popping up throughout his entire collegiate and professional career, and most concerningly, he's had a ton of lower body injuries, which could limit his greatest asset. Besides his speed and subsequent fielding, Garett is very average in terms of his other tools as a light-hitting center fielder. This has led to an OPS of 677 with only 2 home runs. What we really need to see out of Garett Mitchell is some consistency in terms of his health before he can be properly evaluated as a prospect. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Austin Martin was once a top 5 pick and a top 25 prospect overall before he was traded to the Minnesota Twins as the main piece in the Jose Barrios trade. Since then, he has struggled mightily, with him slugging only .313 in Double-A this year. For a guy whose calling card is making hard, consistent contact, this is very concerning for the former first-round pick. However, he has been showing his athleticism on the base paths by stealing 22 bags so far and not striking out nearly as much as many other young players his age. And he's been drawing his walks when needed. I still think he can be special. I mean, you don't become a top 5 pick without some talent, and I just think he needs to make some adjustments to when it comes to consistency in his contact. Yoelqui Cespedes, brother of Yoenis Cespedes, was the top international signee from the 2021 international class, and he initially performed well in his rookie professional season, hitting .285 and slugging .463. However, this year he has taken a step back in almost every category, with his batting average and slugging percentage both dropping by over 50 points. With him never really drawing that many walks to begin with, Cespedes has seen an on-base percentage drop to concerning numbers, and while he has hit more home runs this year in less at-bats, he is 24 years old and only in Double-A. He should be reaching the majors very soon as a DH or corner outfielder, as his fielding is very poor. I don't really know what to do with Joey Bart. If this were the beginning of the season, Joey Bart probably would make the top 10, if not the top 5, but his struggles this year have been throughout the entire season, have been worrying to say the least. His current OPS is only 596, and he has been sent back down to the minors multiple times where he is hitting slightly better. Bart's hard contact has always been his calling card, but with him slugging only 300, it is not a reflection of that. His ground ball rate is higher than it's ever been, and despite the Giants having an opening at the catching position after some injury, Joey Bart still hasn't gotten the call-up. Nevertheless, he is a former number 2 overall pick, and he raked in AAA only a year ago, so hopefully things begin to pick up as he tries to prove himself as more than just a 4A player. Back-to-back catchers here, and at number 24 we have Houston Astros catcher Corey Lee, who posted some great numbers last year as he climbed up the minor league. He ended up hitting 281 across 3 levels in AA, High A, and AAA, where the majority of his season came in AA, where he played 50 games and was passable, hitting 254, but the best part of his season came in High A, where he hit an insane 330 with an on-base percentage of 397. However, this year he hasn't been able to keep up that same consistency, only hitting 226 and slugging 495 in AAA before getting the call-up to the majors, basically because no catcher on that team could really hit. The concerning part here is the dip in on-base percentage, as the walk rate, which was already low, dipped into more, and the strikeouts increased. Nevertheless, he still is a young catcher trying to learn the game, so he has time to grow. And in the Astros organization with excellent player development, he's in the right hands. Our first pitcher on this list comes with Mariners starting pitcher Matt Brash, who would be higher on this list if it wasn't for his very poor Major League debut in his first 5 starts. The most concerning part of this stint has been his walk rate, which has always been high in the minors, but in the majors has been unacceptable. In 20 innings pitched, he's walked 17 batters and struck out 19, and has had an opposing batting average of 312. Obviously, this leads to long innings and high pitch counts, which is not something you want to see as a starter, and he might end up turning into a reliever going into next year if his walk rates don't change. However, he has posted great numbers as a starter his entire minor league career, and I expect for him to eventually get that control under wraps for him to become a young, solid starting pitcher. Up next is Cardinals shortstop Masyn Winn, who was a former second-round pick in the 2020 MLB draft. In his second professional season, Masyn has been hitting very well in a stint in which he hit 249 with an on-base percentage of 404 and slugging 556, which eventually led to his call-up to AA at only 20 years old. Obviously, his numbers have not been the same as he's been able to play against more experienced competition, with him only hitting 245, but still hitting for great numbers as a 20-year-old in AA. The calling card for Masyn Winn is his fielding, which is well above average due to an arm which suits him better for third base rather than shortstop, but makes him an excellent fielder there. The fact that he's hitting extremely well as in his second professional season is only icing on the cake due to his great fielding, which should be consistent enough to carry him out throughout his entire minor and major league career. Like Joey Bart, Bryson Stott is a former top prospect who is struggling mightily in the major leagues right now. As a shortstop, he's only hitting 187 with 4 home runs and 167 at-bats, leading to an OPS plus of only 55. This is due to his measly on-base percentage of 262 and slugging of 283. Obviously, he's looking a little overmatched during the major leagues, but he has an entire minor league career where he's been hitting extremely well, with his batting average being no lower than 295 in his rookie year, and eventually got that to as high as 299 throughout his double and high A stint last year. You don't put up those kind of stats in the minor leagues without some kind of talent, so obviously Bryson Stott has talent. It just needs to show in the major leagues before he can be truly considered as one of the great young players in the major leagues. At 20, we have the second pitcher coming off the board and our first left-hander in Arizona Diamondbacks' Blake Walston, who at 21 years old started out in High A and pitched well there with a 2.55 ERA and 27 strikeouts in only 17 2/3 innings, and then he's pitched in AA ever since, and it has been a struggle for him though so far, pitching to a 6.54 ERA in 42 innings with him giving up 57 hits. The strikeout numbers still have been there with him striking out over a batter per inning, but he's getting hit around more and with the opposing batting average jumping from 200 to 387. Obviously, as a 21-year-old pitcher in AA, he still has a lot of time to develop, and as he faces the harder competition, he will get better. So I think the sky's the limit for Blake Walston despite his AA struggles this year in a small sample size, albeit. back-to-back left-handed starting pitchers here, and we go to the Los Angeles Angels for their starting pitcher Reid Detmers, who admittedly has had his struggles despite throwing a no-hitter, and he has an ERA currently of 4.66, which is mainly due to his below-average walk rate and hits rate, as he's walked over 3 batters per 9 innings and has given up over 6 hits per 9 innings. By no means has he been elite, but he has certainly been average for the major league team, and I would say for a young starting pitcher, that is really all you can ask for. But there's no doubt that he's going to get better. At only 22 years old in the major leagues, you're certainly going to be seeing his potential throughout the entire year due to the combination of all good but not great pitches. At 18, we have Cubs outfielder Pete Crow Armstrong, who came over from the Mets as the main piece in the Javier Baez trade. Since then, he's been a great hitter, as in 2021, he hit with a batting average of .417 with an on-base percentage of over .500 in Single-A. When he started out the 2022 season in Single-A again, he simply laid waste to the entire league, having an OPS of exactly 1,000, which is mainly due to his on-base percentage of .443, with him slugging .557. Since then, he's been moved to High A, which he's seen his numbers dip. Most concerningly has been his on-base percentage, which he's drawn only 1 walk in 73 plate appearances. But I expect for him to get better, as he's only 20 years old in High A, and as a guy who has some scary contact, he could be very good with just a couple adjustments as he plays against better hitters. Nick Pratto is a power-hitting left-handed first baseman who is in AAA this year, as he's hit 14 home runs in 158 at-bats and has seen a decent number of walks, as he has a walk rate of an amazing 23%. However, it has been concerning that his strikeout rate is also extremely high, with almost 35% of his plate appearances ending in a strikeout, which has led to a batting average of only .233, but an on-base percentage of .359. Simply put, he's been a very 3 true outcomes hitter, and in AAA as a 23-year-old, he should be making his major league debut very soon as a left-handed power threat. Despite the fact that he does strike out a ton, the issues of a young hitter, it can be expected, as the strikeout rate will go down as he progresses throughout his minor and major league career. Rays outfielder Josh Lau over the last 2 years can be seen as a 4A player of sorts, as in AAA in 2021 and 2022, his batting average have been .289 and .299, with him slugging .535 and .540, but in the major leagues, has a batting average of only .170. And slugging only .277. The drastic impact on his OPS from AAA to the major leagues has been concerning, but at only 24 years old and as a left-handed power bat, he can be expected to develop slower than a lot of other archetypes of his caliber, and as a former 13th overall pick in 2016, he still has a ton of potential for the Rays. Halfway through now with Marlins shortstop Khalil Watson. The former 14th overall pick Khalil Watson is a great all-around player with a compact swing that could also generate easy power. During his senior year at high school, he has shown above-average athleticism on the base paths and on the field, so he should be able to stick at shortstop but can move to second or third base if need be. In his first professional season, Watson has admittedly struggled with a batting average of only .221 with an on-base percentage of .274, but he still has been able to show off his tools by hitting 8 home runs in 231 at-bats and stealing 12 bags. If he just can be overall more consistent with a higher walk rate and lower strikeout rate, he could be a lot better. He reminds me of a lot of Jazz Chisholm as a guy who strikes out a ton, but is very talented both as a power threat and as a speed threat. At 14, we have another one of my favorite MLB The Show cards in Justin Foscue, who is in AA this year hitting extremely well, with an on-base percentage of .374 and slugging for .455, leading to an OPS of .829. He simply is a well-rounded hitter, with him walking a decent amount and not striking out a ton. He won't be the guy to hit for a lot of power, with only 4 home runs in 191 at-bats, but as long as his on-base percentage is around .350, he simply will get on base. And in this league, simply getting on base is more than enough to be a solid contributor to the major leagues. And I believe that his MLB The Show card reflects him, as well as he's a good, well-rounded overall player with no particularly great stat, but good overall stats across the board. Up next, we have another catcher in Luis Campusano of the San Diego Padres, who, like many other players on this list, really have produced crazy numbers in the minor leagues, but have subsequently terrible seasons in the major leagues. And no case is more drastic than that of Luis Campusano, whose batting average in the minor leagues these last 2 years have been extremely good, with a .295 batting average and .328 batting average respectively. Compared that to an .088 batting average in the major leagues in 2021 and an .083 batting average in 2022 in the major leagues. Combine that with his slugging being below 1 these past 2 seasons in the major leagues, compared that to 541 and 492. Obviously, something needs to give. You can't be this talented in the minor leagues by putting up some crazy numbers and being this terrible in the major leagues. Obviously, there's going to be a case of small sample size here, but the talent is there as a guy who's an amazing fielder as well, and the sky's the limit for Luis Campusano. Up next is Washington Nationals shortstop / third baseman Brady House, who in his age 19 season in Single-A has been hitting extremely well, with a .278 batting average and .356 on-base percentage. He is widely known for his ability to make contact rather than his ability to hit for power, which can be seen with him slugging only .375 despite having a batting average / on-base percentage hovering around .300. He won't strike out a bunch, as in 176 at-bats, he's only struck out 59 times, and will not walk a bunch either, with him only walking 12 times. But as a young 19-year-old, that can be expected for him to not walk a ton, as he's relying mostly on his talent, and he can simply be a well-rounded player, like his card. And again, at only 19 years old, he will get better as he progresses throughout the minor leagues. Up next is a player who I am personally very excited about, and a player who's making his major league debut on the day I'm writing this in Boston Red Sox starting pitcher Bryan Bello. He has a four-seam fastball that sits in the mid to high 90s and a slider and changeup that are all well above average. Although his control is something to be desired, as he will get wild at times, which can be seen in his AAA stats, where although he's posting extremely good numbers, he's walking a decent amount of batters with a walk rate of above 3 for every 9 innings. Despite that, he's striking out a ton of batters, and if you can get that control under wraps, he can be one of the most dangerous young pitchers in the major league, simply due to his high velocity fastball and subsequently nasty slider and changeup. Up next, we have one of, if not the most popular future stars player and New York Yankees shortstop Oswald Peraza, who's put up solid numbers his entire minor league career, never having a batting average below .250 until this season in AAA, where he's only hitting .238 but slugging .413, as he's hit 10 home runs in 235 at-bats. Although he might not be as accomplished as other Yankee shortstop Anthony Volpe, Peraza looks like he can be a solid 5-tool player with some solid speed and fielding to boot, with some decent power that can result in 20 to 25 home runs a year from the shortstop position. He can also play second base when necessary if Volpe ends up taking the starting shortstop position for the Yankees for the next decade to come. We're staying in the American League East this year by going to Blue Jays infielder Orelvis Martinez, who's became a large international signee by the Blue Jays in 2018 and has produced solidly ever since. In his rookie season in the minor leagues, he hit .275 and slugged .549 in rookie ball. Although he has struggled in his promotion to AA this year, hitting only .222 with an on-base percentage of .292, he is a solid power speed combo guy, as he hit 19 home runs in 248 at-bats, as well as stealing 6 bases. Obviously, like many other young players in the league, he needs to walk more, but his power should make up for that for now. As he develops and sees more pitches, he should gain better plate discipline. Now for one of the most popular pitchers in all of MLB The Show, and possibly the best card in all of Future Stars cards, in Bobby Miller of the Los Angeles Dodgers. It is next at number 8. He has an electric fastball that can hit triple digits but usually stays in the mid to high 90s, as well as a sinker that sits in the mid to low 90s, and a slider and changeup that are all above the mid 80s. In his first professional season, he pitched very well in High A, which led to a promotion to AA that year, and began his 2022 season in AA. Admittedly, he has struggled against older and tougher competition, pushing to a 4.45 ERA in 62 innings, although he has struck out 73 batters and held opponents to a .224 batting average against. What he does need to get control over is his control, obviously, pun intended, as his walk rate is pretty high, and that's what's giving him troubles with his ERA. Now we move to Atlanta Braves former first-round pick Shea Langeliers, who is currently lighting it up as a AAA in the Oakland A's organization, posting a batting average of .271 with an on-base percentage of .364 and slugging .496. He's a power catcher who can field his position extremely well, with almost elite arm strength for the catching position, meaning he throws out base runners at a rate well above average. In 258 at-bats, he's hit 4 home runs and doubled 12 times, which shows off his almost elite power. And it is only a matter of time before him and Sean Murphy create a scary catching duo, as Shea is only 24 years old and MLB ready, as he's currently in AAA. In my opinion, one of the most underrated future stars cards is George Valera. I like his swing, and I feel like from the left-handed side, he provides a ton of power. In real life, he's roughly the same, as he's just a solid, well-rounded hitter who is raked in the minors. This year, he seems to have his stock rise after hitting extremely well in AA, posting a .285 batting average with an on-base percentage of .391, along with slugging .512, leading to an OPS of .903. He's hit 13 home runs and 260 at-bats, as well as 14 doubles, and has stolen 2 bases. From a fielding standpoint, he's an athletic runner, and he looks like he can be a solid corner outfielder, or even possibly a DH for the Cleveland Guardians. The best pitcher out of all the MLB The Show Future Stars cards in real life goes to Detroit Tigers' Jackson Jobe, who was the number 3 overall pick in the 2021 MLB Draft as the number 1 high school player, as he posted a .13 ERA and a 122-5 strikeout-to-walk ratio in 51 2/3 innings in his senior year in high school. Admittedly, though, in his first professional season at age 19 in Single A, he has not posted the best numbers, with a 4.46 ERA with 16 walks in 36 innings to only 39 strikeouts. He has a fastball that sits in the mid to low 90s with a curveball and slider that are both in the low 80s with some nasty break to them. I think that Jobe needs to work on his control, as sometimes he can get wild and have long innings with hard-hit balls when he's not on his game. As he grows, he should gain more velocity and have a fastball that sits in the mid to high 90s, with his slider and curveball gaining more spin rate to them. My starting third baseman for the MLB The Show team is next, and Mets third baseman / outfielder Brett Baty, who, ever since being drafted in the first round in 2019, has hit at every level he's been in. In 2021, he hit .309 in high A before being promoted to AA, where he still hit extremely well despite playing against older and tougher competition, slugging .424 with an OP on-base percentage of .364. He stayed in AA in his third professional season and has only seemed to get better, as his batting average is now at .289 with an on-base percentage of .366 and slugging for .479. In 242 at-bats in the minor leagues so far this season, he's hit 10 home runs as well as stolen a bag. He's an athletic runner and a solid fielder at third base, although he might play corner outfielder once he reaches the majors. But overall, he's a solid hitter who's hits for both contact and power, who is not a liability on the field, and that's all you can really ask for in a player. We just talked about my current third baseman, so now it's time to talk about my current starting catcher in Pirates catcher Henry Davis, who is a former number 1 overall pick in the draft just a year earlier after hitting .370 with an on-base percentage of .483 with 15 home runs in the 2021 collegiate season. In high A this year, he's hit an insane .341 with an on-base percentage of .450, slugging .585 in 82 at-bats due to him hitting 5 home runs and 3 doubles along with a triple and stealing 5 bags as well. Although you cannot expect him to steal bases once he hits the major leagues, you can expect him to be a solid power-hitting catcher with the arm strength to throw out many would-be base runners once he hits the major leagues. At number 2, we have Baltimore Orioles shortstop / third baseman Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar Henderson, unlike many other people on this list, was not a very high pick. In fact, he was only picked number 42 in the second round in the 2019 MLB Draft. Instead, he's had to prove himself as a top prospect strictly due to his bat. In 2022 this year in AA, he hit an insane .312 with an on-base percentage of .452, slugging .573 in 157 at-bats in AA. This has led to him being promoted to AAA, and in 95 at-bats there, he's hit .274 with an on-base percentage of .386 and slugging .505. He simply hits for power as well as walking a ton, and he can steal you a couple of bags. He doesn't strike out a ton and is overall a great 5-tool player and can potentially seal the Orioles' middle infield slot for the next decade to come. He also has an extremely decent fielding arm at third base and shortstop, with the ability to hit 30 home runs and keep his batting average in the 280s in the major leagues. Lastly, the best player in my opinion out of the 30 Future Stars cards in MLB The Show is Michael Harris II out of the Atlanta Braves organization. No player on this list has really been able to prove himself in the major leagues such as Michael Harris has, who should be the winner of the National League Rookie of the Year if he keeps this pace up. In 78 at-bats so far with the Atlanta Braves, he hit an insane .314 with an on-base percentage of .342 and slugging .514. Obviously, you would like him to walk a little bit more with his on-base percentage being less than 30 points higher than his batting average, but he has made it up with his slugging by hitting 2 home runs and 6 doubles. He looks like he can be the starting center fielder for the Braves for a long time to come, so that's why he's the best Future Stars player out of all of them. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, if you enjoyed, please like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below new video ideas. This video took a long time to make, so I'd very much appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button. Long videos like this one take a long time to make, so I hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like me to make more of MLB The Show videos, please comment down below. Obviously, I play a lot of MLB The Show, so I would probably have more fun making these kind of videos, but we'll see how good this one does. I'm going to make another mock draft video as well as trade deadline videos, so let me know what you guys would like to see more. And anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.